everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now today you've joined me finally with an M2 competition, the G87 variant. Now if you've been part of the channel for a while or you've just done some M2 digging around on YouTube, you might have come across one of my videos where you might have found that I previously owned an F87 M2 competition in Sunset Orange with a DCT gearbox, and this is what it looked like. That car has gone, but it's automatically given me some interest into the next generation, the G87, and I wanted to get behind the wheel to see what it was all about. There's been loads of comments thrown around. We've had the leaked images from somewhere in BMW, and everyone went crazy about the looks, like, oh my god, like, compare this to the previous generation. Now, before we go too far into the video, as a thank you to all of you that are watching at home, subscribing, interacting on my channel, and finally getting me to the point of 1 million views across my channel, we are celebrating by giving one lucky winner the opportunity to bring their car down to Gad Tuning for a free dyno session. All you got to do is leave your comment, an Instagram or a social media handle, some sort of way that I can get hold of you if you win. Now I'll select one winner at random by the end of November. That was when the competition closed, the last day of November, so you've got until then to interact with this video. So firstly, Inchcape Chelmsford, thank you again for giving me the car for the day. We've been waiting for quite a while, trying to get the weather and the timings all matched up, and finally today's the day. So we'll jump straight into it. First of all, the looks. Big things about it. When the pictures got leaked and finally started seeing cars pop up from the BMW press office, then dealerships and stuff, and it's the usual story with BMW and the fans around it. People are like, oh, you need to see it in person, and it looks much better in person. Given their due, it does. The M3 and the M4, I was a bit sceptical, but I knew I'd come to like. The M2, I was like, no, that's not going to do it for me. But again, they've done it and I am turned. I do like it. There's a couple of tweaks I've made, like I might go back to my boyish ways and put the big M wing across the back and stuff like that, but that's just personal preference. Personal spec would be Zandervault blue. Inchcape did have one there on their forecourt, but it was a customer's car, so unfortunately I couldn't get behind the wheel of that one. As most of you probably know, there have been some changes. We've got a new engine. Well, I say new, it's the current engine that's in the M3 and the M4, and it is the S58. So it's a slightly detuned S58, so obviously plonk inside the M2. It's 450-ish horsepower, so still plenty of go, and it's 50 more than the previous comp. Although it's got more power, it also comes with more weight, so therefore I've heard a lot that the weight and the power sort of balanced out, so it feels very similar to the previous F87. So there have been a couple of little spec tweaks from when the car was announced to when you can, like now, when you can actually take delivery of your car. There was 5 original colours and they've added 2 more to the roster. Original colours were Alpine White, Zandervault Blue, Toronto Red, Black Sapphire and Brooklyn Grey. They were all 3 optional colours, and now they've added 2 more colours that are £2 extra, and it is Frozen Portimao Blue and Frozen Pure Grey. Now again, £2 option. I think I'll still be sticking for Zandervault Blue. That would be my spec colour of choice. So let's go into the looks of the cars. Now obviously this is quite a different looking car to the previous generation, and I think we've come to love that generation so much because it's kind of like a nice flowing curvy looking car with nice lines on it and everything, whereas this is a much more aggressive, boxier look, and I think that's why we're probably also taken back by it. Now if we go around to the back of the car, it's the same story around the back. They've tweaked the front end for this more boxier, aggressive look, but one thing they haven't done is changed that infamous ball bag exhaust, and it's still sort of proudly sitting there hanging down. So the car as a whole is there's actually not that much to spec on it. You get quite a lot of kit as standard, so the only things you really get to choose from are the 3 optional packages that you can add onto it, like the comfort pack, which gives you the heated steering wheel and stuff like that. You get the M drivers pack, and then you get the M racetrack pack, which obviously de-restricts the car to its top speed of 177 as opposed to being restricted to 155. Obviously one thing you're never really going to use unless you're tracking it, so I guess it's kind of worth the money. But in that package you also get the carbon M bucket seats. Now currently they come part as a package, but maybe they'll become an individual optional extra later down the line, like they did with the M2, the M3 and the M4. Originally they were only part as a package, and that was £7,000. Now you can buy them separately. it's about 3.5 grand. So they might do something like that with this M2. So rather than 9 grand just to get them seats, they might 3-4 grand and you can have them. Now the other thing, I'm not sure if there's a bit of a bug with the configurator or not, but it says the carbon fibre roof comes as standard, but when you go onto the M racetrack package, it says that's one of the options that gets added on as part of the package, the carbon fibre roof. So might have to look a bit further into that. But going back into the car is very lovely. As always, we've got the standard nice curved screen for the iDrive 8 system. Again, standard layout as the M3 and the M4. Nothing's changed at all, which is very nice and handy. Now, one thing I'm very happy about is the steering wheel. We have got, finally, the M buttons are up here, as opposed to on the F87 where they were just a 1 and 2 blank black button there. So it definitely just adds that bit of extra M niceness to it. But other than that, it's pretty standard throughout the car. We've still got 2 standard seats in the back, which are very nice and spacious. Standard M seats. In the centre console, we've got a nice big bit of storage now, as opposed to the wireless charger in the F87. It was in there, tucked away, and it could sort of fit any phone. This time, it's under, you know, your centre console. That's your wireless charging pad, and still, for some reason, it doesn't quite fit in. So, a little bit disappointed with that. But then again, that was a feature that I never actually used on my M2, so not fazed by it really. But this is obviously where the magic happens. So let's go enjoy some M power. Now, one thing I've noticed straight away, it's just that the actual tone of the car is a lot deeper than the F87. It actually sounds a bit like an M3 CS. And I know the CS had a titanium back box and that on it just to make it a bit deeper than the standard M3. This obviously hasn't got the titanium back box and that on it, but it might have, I'm just guessing here, it's like similar baffle design inside the back box. But it does sound quite deep compared to the last M2, which makes me think the BMW techs have had a little play. So because this has the same S58 engine that's in the M3 G80, the G81 M3 Touring, the G82 M4, obviously just a bit dulled down, I feel like even though in normal road driving mode it wants to go a little bit every time you sort of touch the throttle, even just like setting off, if you haven't got the auto hold feature on, as soon as you let go of the pedal, don't even touch the accelerator, it seems to like lurch forward. It just seems to want to go a bit. But if you just knock them settings up, the engine and the chassis up into sport mode out of comfort, then it's like the throttle response is like that, and it's like, come on, let's go play, and we will go and go play. There was a reason I was looking forward to driving this car so much. Oh. Even in these sort of early winter miserable damp conditions, there's so much confidence in this car. Oh, and it just feels that little bit more special than the F87. So if you've watched any of my previous M videos or any BMW video in the recent year, the M3, the 3 Series Touring, you know I'm not a fan of the iDrive 8. I'm liking the curved screen, but I feel like the centre console and the lack of buttons in this car, I am not phased one bit. I'd happily take the iDrive like I don't need the buttons and everything when I'm in this car, because you don't need sound, you don't need comfort. It's just, this is the car, I think, where it's just you and the car, and you go out to do one thing, and that's enjoy the car and the roads. Now, because we've got the auto box in this car as opposed to the manual, obviously it downshifts for me automatically as I slow down. One thing I've noticed straight away is that it's quite, not aggressive, I don't know the right word for it. I'd say very proactive with down changing gears, whereas the F87 you sort of just roll into town from a national speed limit road down to a 30. It would sort of downshift, not aggressively. It was just as the revs would drop, sort of down to near the idle area in the RPM range, it would then downshift to the next gear, and then it would do the same. Whereas this one, you don't need to press the brakes hard or aggressively for it to actually be quite sporty in its downshifts. You could just be, even in normal and road going use, it seems to be quite proactive in its downshifts. Like that. I've just slightly let off the RPM and it's downshift 2 gears already, 3 gears. And for road going use, I'm actually in quite a high gear for the speed I'm doing just around this little bend. Like, it's like, come on, you know you want to go play, we've got the gear waiting. I know technically on paper the car is slightly bigger than the previous generation, but it doesn't feel any different really. There was a slight, turn that off. There was a slight difference when I first got in it, when I looked over the bonnet, because now it's got the power bulge, whereas the previous generation didn't. It's kind of, it felt a bit like, oh, I'm looking over the bonnet, but half an hour of driving it and I'm fine. Now, luckily, the sun is starting to come out and the roads are drying up a little bit, so let's just see how it goes. Bogging down a little bit just because of the grease on the road. Oh, such a good noise. This is my favourite moment, just coming out of a residential area into national speed limit. Just open it up. Whee! Definitely feels faster than the F87. Again, blinding gearbox, just snappy gear changes. Oh, as always, seats are nice and comfortable. No need to sort of fiddle around with them too much. They're nice and huggy, they keep you in seated position nice and well. No real urgency of feeling like, oh, I need the M bucket seats to keep me in more, because these do a brilliant job at it. I think at a certain point they come down to just looks, but for £9 just for that option, if that's all you're getting the M track pack for, it's a bloody steep increase just for them seats. I'd wait and then see if BMW eventually release them as a separate option, and you might be able to get them aftermarket, or you might even be able to, I don't know, check out the specs and see if the M3 and M4 seats would actually fit into the M2. That might be a cheaper way of going about it. But around town, suspension's lovely. Even on the Sport Plus suspension setting, it's no harder than the standard. Doesn't feel any more. It doesn't feel any firmer than Comfort, really. I guess again, it's one of them things. Personally, I probably only really start to see the difference when it's on a track for track day. because at the moment I'm fine with this ride comfort for a bumpy town. It doesn't feel any different to the F87, which is good. They haven't firmed it up too much to a point where it's a bit unbearable. Oh, power delivery is lovely and smooth, pretty linear, and the torque figures, maximum torque figures held for quite a while, so it's nice and consistent. Jesus. I feel like that typical noise, the induction noise, is slowly getting deeper and deeper throughout the generations as well, which is nice. Doesn't seem, there's still rasp there, but it doesn't seem nowhere near as much as what it was on the F87, which again, nice, coupled up with the exhaust. Oh, this is everything that I thought it would be. As short and sweet as the driving in this car is today, due to limited time with it, I guess the main question is the M2 worth it, the G87? Yes, it's worth it 100% if you haven't got one and you've always wanted an M2. Is it worth the upgrade from an F87? I guess that's down to personal opinion. Obviously you'll have people say, oh no, it's not worth it, just keep your current one. Obviously it's quite a big jump in price from that one to this one, starting at like £66,000 compared to what you'd get for selling yours. I mean, if you bought it outright and then sold it privately, you'd probably get a nice big deposit on it and probably half your money back to put towards this one. But is it worth going through all that hassle to get the newer version? Yeah, personal opinion, I'd say because I got rid of mine, and if I wanted another one again, I'd get this. Some people might just say, oh no, I'll just buy the old one, that was good enough. But yeah, I'll leave that down to you guys to decide. Obviously can't get, well, enough of the whole car, but the actual so it's that time of day again where time is getting on, the day's coming to an end, and it's time to head back to Chelmsford to Inchcape to reluctantly hand the keys back for the car before they close. So I'll enjoy the last half an hour in peace and quiet, but don't forget to leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, leave a like on this video, and let us know your thoughts. Oh, also make sure you leave a social media handle down there for the GAD competition, where you could win a free dyno session on your car. So competition ends at the end of November. Good luck, I hope to see you there, and yeah, I'll see you on the next video very soon.